Hey, what's up, guys? Simon Edwards at Pumacom here with Heatseeker Sports, and you're watching Gamescript. This is a show where I like to go over the DraftKings Showdown analysis for island games. And tonight we got the San Francisco 49ers versus the Minnesota Vikings. And should be a pretty good game on the 49ers side. We're looking at a 43.5-point total. San Francisco is 7-point favorites. Apologies for my voice. I'm sick. And I lost my voice the other day. Gonna take a quick look at this because I obviously can't talk right now, and I will give you a quick rundown of what I'm seeing in this game. It's looking like a pretty good one on the San Francisco side. San Francisco obviously has the advantage in this matchup. Minnesota is missing Justin Jefferson, and in general, in Minnesota, the talk has been about tanking for the season and getting rid of players, whereas San Francisco is a potential Super Bowl contender. So we're on opposite sides of the spectrum here. Let's see. Christian McCaffrey, he's injured with an oblique. It looks like he's going to play tonight. He's got a tear in his oblique, so it's going to be a pain tolerance thing. But I would guess that if San Francisco takes a big enough lead, they're not going to want to start McCaffrey too much. They're a forward-thinking team, and I don't think they're going to risk him. So McCaffrey at $12K on DraftKings is a little pricey. As you can see, he's had some monster games, but he's had games where he scored less than 15 points mixed in there. So McCaffrey, kind of start him at your own risk. It looks like he's overall ownership's going to be around 60%, and he's projected as the highest owned captain. So I'm not going to be going there with McCaffrey as the captain, and probably have limited exposure in the flex too. Brandon Ayuk, he's in a good situation in tonight's game. Minnesota is giving up a decent amount of points to wide receivers. They're the top 4 most points given up to wide receivers with 46 DraftKings points a game. Notable wide receiver they've gone up against have been Mike Evans, A.J. Brown, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams. But they've allowed 46 points per game to wide receiver, which makes Ayuk an excellent play tonight because Deebo Samuel is also out. So I'm expecting Ayuk and Kittle to get a lot of work tonight in the passing game. They're allowing bottom 6 points per game to running back at 16 fantasy points a game, DraftKings points a game. And they're allowing the least yards per game to running back. So that makes any of these running backs on the San Francisco side less interesting. And the passing side more interesting. So I like Brandon Ayuk. Kirk Cousins, we're going back to the Kirk Cousins primetime issues. And, if it was a good matchup, I'd play primetime Kirk, hoping that other people would fade him just because of that narrative. But he's in a bad matchup tonight, and I just generally don't want to go with Kirk Cousins tonight. Brock Purdy, he's in a good situation tonight. Expect Minnesota to blitz a ton. And if you want a kind of a blueprint of what Purdy's done when he's blitzed a ton, the Giants blitzed him a ton earlier this season. So if you look at the game log from that game, you can get a good blueprint of where Purdy went. And that was primarily George Kittle and Deebo Samuel. And Ayuk was out that week. So Samuel is out this week. So maybe it flips to Ayuk, who he targets, one of the most heavily targeted. But Purdy in that New York game had 23 DraftKings points against all those blitzes. So it didn't really have a huge impact on him. And, I would guess that tonight it would kind of be a similar story. Hawkinson is not the best matchup tonight against San Francisco. I'm probably going to be going heavy San Francisco tonight and maybe start like one Viking in each lineup. And I'll try to get like one variation with Hawkinson in there, but he doesn't really fall into place. Addison is a guy I'm more interested in because San Francisco has been vulnerable to wideouts. So Addison has probably the best matchup on the San Francisco side or on the Minnesota side for offense. So I'm interested in Addison tonight. Kittle, I'm interested in as a captain in that New York game. New York was allowing about the same amount of fantasy points to tight end, and he went off in that game. He scored 16 fantasy points in that game. Second most highest targeted guy in that game with 9 targets, 90 yards, did not score a touchdown. So if you add a touchdown into that, you would add 22 points, would have been captain material. So just keep that in mind with George Kittle tonight. Alexander Mattison, he's got about as good a matchup as any of these receivers tonight against San Francisco. San Francisco has really not faced any good running backs except for Pollard, who they were able to stop. But Madison should get a lot of work in the passing game, and he's basically owns that backfield right now. KJ Osborne is probably a guy I'm going to rotate in that one Minnesota slot. Him and Addison, I'll probably rotate them mainly, but also Madison just because he's in that price range too. Skipping past these quarterbacks, we got Jordan Mason. He got more work than Elijah Mitchell last week, but that's because Elijah Mitchell was coming off injury, it seems. So it's a crapshoot over Mason or Mitchell, which guy could get more work if Christian McCaffrey is limited. But they both got a very tough matchup tonight against Minnesota's D because they're good against the run. Moody, he's got some heat on him for missing that field goal that cost him the game last week. But I would plug Moody in as an option, maybe rotate him out between the 49ers D tonight, who also have a similar matchup. Greg Joseph, probably not starting any kicker for Minnesota tonight. I think they're going to get blown out. Juwan Jennings, I don't mind sprinkling him in when you need the salary. I wouldn't have too much exposure to him. I kind of like Ronnie Bell better. They call Ronnie Bell Diet Deebo in the local market. He hasn't done anything for a few weeks. But he got his opportunity when Ayuk was out in week 3 against New York, and he scored a touchdown. So he's interesting. Besides that, 49ers D I kind of like. Vikings D I'm not interested in. Powell is not interesting to me. Akers, not interested there. Maybe Juszczyk. Maybe Juszczyk if you need him for salary relief. He's at 600. If you get in the range where you need a 600 guy, Juszczyk's pretty. He comes through in spots like this. So far this season, he's only had one game over double-digit points. That was against Dallas. So keep that in mind. All right, let's build a lineup so I can get out of here with my voice. Gonna go with. I think McCaffrey's still the highest owned captain tonight, so I'm going to put him in the captain, and we can see what we can do with that. I like Ayuk. I like Kittle. Would probably go with Addison just to get a Viking in there. Maybe 49ers Steve will be popular. That leaves you with 1,000, 1,400. You can go Ronnie Bell, Juszczyk. Find one of these value guys, see which one's highest projected. Direction that I like going Kittle in the captain because I think that he can have a big game in a game like this where Purdy's under pressure and he's got to get rid of the ball. And we got Deebo out, so Kittle does well when Deebo's out. Gonna give him Ayuk in there too, and Purdy since they got 2 pass catchers. We'll go Addison. Scroll down a little bit, maybe go with 49ers D. That leaves you with 5,600. You could go Mitchell if you want. the kicker gives you options. So that's it for today. I probably won't put out a short video because my voice sounds like ass, but good luck, everybody.